There we are.
Hello, we
Hi.
are back.
Not
that we really left.
Could be gruesome, doosome. Ash and soot, which it's gone from the ocean waters, right?
Apparently so.
That's called the blue phenomenon.
Isn't it interesting though? I went on vacation last week, so I had sent her a message and told her, I said, this is a phenomenon. Usually on the East Coast, they don't have the blue-green waters. That's usually in the Gulf.
Yeah, the Caribbean.
And so when we went there and everything, and I was like, wait a minute, there's blue-green water here, because usually it's mucky looking or darker, and everybody was talking about it. And then when I started looking, it was news articles being posted, and everybody, all the different people in different places, Myrtle Beach and South Carolina, all kinds of places, all up and down, were talking about how the phenomenon. But they're talking about how apparently we're at the bottom of the ocean now, and you and I, ash and soot or something. And
we settled out.
And the storm they said it hasn't been enough storms.
Not enough churning up and turbidity to mix it up and all of that.
And is it plankton, I guess, that's gone too and stuff?
So yeah, phytoplankton, you get all that, the plankton.
But it was just weird. It was just very interesting how because like I said, I didn't realize that all that affected the blue-greenness of it. So it was just interesting to me.
Well, have we had any tropical storms?
That's not actually done anything. And I think I'm really glad I did roll my window up, because it's looking like it may come up again here. It seems like here lately, whenever we're doing one, it looks like it may rain, but I don't know. Maybe it's just my eyes right now. But anyway, apparently there's been a lot of rain here and stuff. The weather's been crazy everywhere.
We've had a lot of rain, which, we're looking at this. Why isn't there a lot of runoff, in the Carolinas? But obviously they haven't gotten it, and we have.
Apparently not. Apparently Virginia really has gotten soaked, because today it was raining and storming up in Richmond earlier today and stuff.
All that smoke is coming back down.
Well, and I read an article today, and it was saying how China's pollution is affecting us, and I'm like, okay, now that one's just a little bit hard for me.
Well, it goes all around the world. Do you know what I did?
But it's got to dissipate at some point, right?
Well, it thins out, yes. It does. I got carried away. I went and looked up. I wanted a periodic chart, so we had a periodic chart.
Okay.
Of elements.
Well, it was funny. We were testing ourselves on some of that this last week.
Really?
And stuff, like what the little initials and all stood for. So anyway,
I had my second semester chemistry teacher, because when you're in the science, you have to take more. Obviously, you have to take more science and math. So my second semester chemistry instructor, and I think I've mentioned before, I like people who have high standards. They treat everyone the same. Mm-hmm. They're strict. And you go in and poof. The first day, walked into this big lecture hall, and she hands out a blank periodic chart. Now, I'll show you.
You had to fill them in?
This is a filled in one.
Right, that's the one I remember, yes.
Mm-hmm. She gave you a blank one.
And you had to do it.
And she said, fill it in. Well, some of us we can manage some of the ones, the common ones, right?
Exactly.
That wasn't so hard. Oh, this cut off. I'm a little disturbed because it cut off the halogens over on the side. Anyway, I have to try to do that and reduce it. So next class we went, she gives us another blank one. By the fourth class, we figured it out. Better start memorizing the periodic chart.
Now, did you have to fill in the numbers and everything? Or
no,
just
the letters for the elements. And the last time we were talking about salts, and I said phosphates, chlorides. I left the halogens off, but I have another one here anyway.
And it's interesting.
It actually was potassium chloride, that some of our salts have potassium chloride. But this is one that I found.
See, I don't know why silver is Ag.
It's the like the Latin name that it comes from, and I have no idea.
Yeah, there's some of them you can kind of
go. Gold is Au, because I think it's like aluminum or something like that.
And tin is SN.
SN, yeah. Don't look at me.
I mean, some of it, and I mean, some of it was, I
And
remember
see-
being,
So the eye cut off, I'm gonna have to go back home and make it, shrink it down so I can get the halogens. Because you got hydrogen, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, and francium. And all of those are a positive, they're called valences, positive. In other words, they have more protons than electrons. The protons are in the center, electrons are on the outside. And they, over on the right side, these have the negative. So if you find something like chlorine, that's over here, Cl, all right, that's a -1, and sodium is a +1, so you get a 1-to-1 ratio, so it's sodium chloride. And I believe potassium may be a 2 valence. See, I cut it off, so I can't even do that. And that would be, you have to have 2 chlorine to one of them.
okay.
Okay, see how quickly, see, it's so neat, but that is a really good one because that tells you, in here, it'll tell you the valences, and see where it has 1s3, 2s2, 2p1, that tells you the electrons, and the electrons orbit around the nucleus in like little orbits. Okay?
I do
And
remember that from science class. But
yes, and it's so, I found a chemistry I like. I really liked chemistry. Physics and I didn't get along too well, but it gets better now that I'm older and it's just realize it's math. But I got off on the wrong track because you were talking about getting.
yes, but we love this. I know you probably didn't sign in or you don't watch us necessarily just for all the
odd
knowledge.
things
But I mean,
that
this
we
is
do.
interesting.
It is, because, all these things that are happening, we've had a lot of, I'm going to leave these here for us. I'm going to put it in the cabinet. And this one I found was kind of cool, that the different elements and what they make up. For instance, the one that I thought was kind of cool was a calcium, and it looks like a shell because calcium carbonate is a shell. So
Okay.
they show you like a shell. So I thought that was kind
Okay,
of a
so they
neat
kind
thing.
of
Yeah, they sort of,
associate it, okay.
associated with what it's, and then of course, I printed off reference tables because on here it has the radioactive decay data of what different things will decay to and how
Where do
long.
I fit in?
Well, it depends on how many preservatives you've been eating. That's what, well, see,
Okay, so
these
now
are
you're gonna
ocean
explain
currents.
to me. So
See, ocean currents,
Okay.
okay? Because now we can have a reference for ocean currents, and you can see which way they're traveling,
Okay.
okay? And then I've got one that says wind and moisture belts, so you can see how the winds travel around in the different belts that they travel at different latitudes and the way they go. So it's really quite interesting.
Well, it is, but like I said, from China all the way over here. Now, China may, depending on which way the wind blows, it may affect California. But how would California even know in the state that it's in?
They're probably all.
But I don't to me, it would just, it's so far away. That to me, it would just dissipate. I just don't understand
Well,
how it affects so much.
it doesn't disappear, but it thins out. Look at those, the forest fires are starting up again in Canada. Go figure. Doesn't that seem a little strange?
It just is really
As I
weird.
said to somebody at lunch yesterday, I grew up in the Finger Lakes of New York State, and I don't remember any of us ever worrying about forest fires from Canada. We had fires, but it was mostly the marshes would go on fire because the end of the Seneca Lake was all marshland. And those cattail kids probably set it on fire. But at night, you could, in the summertime, like tonight, the sky would be red from the glowing cinders. It's kind of neat. I can remember that. Well, if something happens on the other side of the world, the winds will eventually carry it.
Well, I did see where Florida, I think it was Florida, right? That was supposed to be affected by those Sahara.
Winds?
winds and the dust and stuff again or something. So, and I
Ooh,
remember
really coming. Hmm.
So I think Florida was one of them. And I remember it was a year or two ago when I know the Dominican Republic had gotten affected by them and different things. But I mean, and I think it like changed the color of, either the moon or
The
the sun
moon,
or
remember?
something.
Yeah. What did they say? The strawberry moon when all these forest fires were happening. And I'm like, okay.
But there right now we're in all these phenomenons because I've been some of these articles I've been reading. It's like they say it's so hot, like Italy is experiencing some of the most hottest temperatures they've ever experienced and stuff. They say it's like what is going on? Because
Well, some of it we don't have to control. Who knows what's happening on the sun? I mean, the sun affects us. Somebody was saying that there was some government official said they wanted to control sun activity. Yeah, right.
well, supposedly they do that by the time change, which they're really not controlling
No.
sun activity. But
You
anyway,
know,
that'll come again in November. I won't get upset.
if you match the earth up with the sun, we're like a teeny tiny thing. Really? But solar flares can affect us. I mean, they can. The aurora borealis, again, it's down to the chemical. It's from solar activities. And what
But that was an article that popped up while I was on vacation. Will Virginia people be able to see like the Northern Lights or something? So did y'all get to see Northern Lights last week?
I don't know, I didn't stay up that long. Last night I stayed up that long and I saw the aurora australis, yes, on the movie. I'm like, oh, they have an aurora australis because they have it on the southern pole. So yeah, no, but that would be, it depends on the solar activity, how far you're going to see that. So I don't know. Man doesn't do all this. We can't. We're not that effective.
No,
We are not that effective, especially.
Don't leave it to the government people. They'll screw it up.
Was it some very high government official wants to put some kind of shading so we don't get so much sunlight?
Shading on what?
I don't know. Maybe you're going to put some satellites up. As long as you don't screw up my Starlink. Did you get any notification?
No, nothing.
No.
It just keeps saying 2020. But I will have to tell you something funny. Okay, so last week when we were on vacation, where we were at, had streaming ability.
Oh boy.
Okay, so and they already had some things set up and stuff, and then there's some little things that I have. So we were able to stream. So one of the shows that I got hooked back on is I loved Green Acres. Do you ever remember that show?
Yes.
Well, my husband and I, we always laugh and say, because I always say that
Funny.
that's us. Because, he loves the country and I like the city, at least the suburb to where I can get to something or do something. And so anyway, so I was watching, I was laughing again and stuff. And I said, I looked around, I thought, I do live in Hooterville. So I had a cousin try to contact me the other day. And this is after we got home. And they're in another state and everything. And they texted me, and then they tried to call me and of course it didn't go through. And then the next day I finally get voicemail. And I was like, well, I'm sorry. So I texted back and said, sorry, I missed, all your contact. I said, I live in Hooterville. I said, I don't have to climb the pole yet. I said, I sometimes have to drive to town to get signal.
Oh, yeah.
And they were like thinking I was joking. And I was like, so we're talking on the phone. I'm like, no, I'm serious. I have to sometimes, either I have to hold this leg up and go and stand in a certain place in the room.
Put your finger on the top of your head and put your phone.
Exactly. Don't, take all your jewelry off, anything that might pull any kind of, and they were on the other end just laughing to
But it's true.
But it's very true. I said, I can't explain it.
And so,
I can't explain it, but yeah.
Well, I told you our daughter wished us happy Easter. It was 2 weeks ago. I was like,
it just came through.
It had not gone through
on her phone.
And she had wished her brother and her husband, everybody, a happy Easter. And all of a sudden we get up and it's a Saturday morning and we get this bling bling, happy Easter. I'm like,
see, that's what
and
happens.
Her husband says your daughter's on crack. I'm like, I doubt it. But she says, well, she had not turned, it never got sent at Easter time, and she hadn't turned her phone off. Well, she turned her phone off a couple weeks ago, and when it booted up, it sent everything out.
I understand that.
And it's like, I've been checking my text messages today, and all of a sudden I see yours, and I'm like, 202. I was just sitting right there, and I heard nothing. Don't know anything.
And there's nothing that you can like put a finger on, because I don't know how text messaging works. I can't comprehend it like emails. So, but I know it goes from here to there.
It's digital. So we have to do some digital currency, because it's
Okay.
really funny sometimes.
All right, well, let's do that, because I'm curious with this digital currency. What if it does like my email or my text message and it gets sent, but we don't get it until 4 weeks later?
Your data is late.
So tell me about digital. If you don't know what digital currency is,
Well,
this is going to
I'm
be
not
interesting.
quite sure, but it's like Bitcoin. I mean, what the heck is Bitcoin is digital.
And the Fed is getting ready to go to digital
Well,
stuff.
they want to.
Yeah, their Fed now is supposed to be going to like these.
Oh, good, but they're the ones that are going to control it.
Well, it's the
Mhm.
government. I mean,
And I was reading about
the Federal Reserve is really not the government. It's a
Yes.
separate entity, but it's associated with it, and usually anything that they do. So
Let's
anyway,
see
so
how
go
they
ahead.
can screw that up. Well, I looked up Bitcoin a long time ago. So it's our computer. This is your bank of Bitcoin, really,
Okay.
because it's based on data.
Okay.
And now that we're on the digital age, we all want data. Because you want to stream, like Starlink.
Mm-hmm.
You can get a terabit of data to use. So, gee, it's too bad we can't get that and sell it. But I mean, that's basically what it's based on data. There's no gold that I can see behind
Yeah,
it.
there's nothing that. Yeah,
There's nothing
I don't know
substantial.
what supports it.
It's all those little bits that are built in your little processor.
Because I bought some Bitcoin a couple years ago just to see what it would do, and I kept watching it would go up and go down and
Did
go
it
up and go
crash?
down, and it didn't. I mean, it didn't at that point. I guess it really wasn't doing anything. So I went ahead and I didn't have much invested in it,
Good
but I was
thing.
just kind of
Curious how it worked.
just curious how Bitcoin would work. But I'm like, I still didn't get it, because I mean, there's nothing
Substantial with it.
I transferred money into this account, which then it converted into this digital Bitcoin. And then I don't know how that, and then supposedly some places will take Bitcoin as payment, and it's like, well, what's it backed up by? So how do you get it?
So if I do this, and I just sent that to you. Okay.
My phone's in my bag. Mm-hmm.
So see that picture?
I heard it.
I just sent you a bunch of data, because those emojis take up a lot of data.
Okay.
So that data is in digital. It's a giggly one.
Okay.
So basically, I just gave you some money,
But I can't spend it.
but you can't spend it. See,
So, I mean,
what you're buying interest in data that's being produced and people using it. That's how I understand it. And one time I looked it up.
I don't understand how you're going to, like, if say a pizza place starts taking your Bitcoin, then how are they going to trade it to buy eggs or to buy stuff that they need to make?
So you know what? It's going to end up in another little card that says your Bitcoin card. You watch. And it's going to be like that. And the government, from what I was reading when you sent me that little thing about the digital currency, I guess the executive branch of our government said that there's 20% of the people who do not believe in banks, so they want to help these people out. They're probably people that live down here.
Well, 20%, when do the 20% ever run anything? 20% usually don't run anything,
And they don't want
right?
to use the bank. What makes you think those 20% are going to use digital currency.
How are they going to use? They probably don't even have a cell phone or a
It-
computer.
There you go. Mhm.
And if you're and definitely down here, you wouldn't be able to do
That's
anything.
exactly it. So, no.
You know, and I know that we have all these direct deposits and stuff that come
Yes.
in. All your Social Security comes in, my check comes in, everything comes in direct deposit. But it's still interesting, and then the digital part of it, because how is it going to be backed by anything? But I think they're doing this, and I'm really watching
They can
this.
track you.
Well, they can track you.
They can take your money.
And yes, because one of the things they're starting to do is this ESG stuff, where they're watching purchases that you make. China's been doing this for a long time, but
Oh.
now they're watching you. I mean, they can watch you, and that's why a while back, it was either a year or two ago, they wanted to lower that threshold of what you had to report, $600. Remember? And that was one reason, is because they want to be able to see what you're purchasing and stuff,
And
so
where you
you're
got your
buying-
money
and
from.
your buying power and stuff. So
Mhm.
like, if you're not purchasing things that they feel like you should be doing, like say we like guns,
That's right.
then
What did you
may
buy
not-
your money?
yes.
Yeah.
And you
Mhm.
bought a gun? Okay, no. Well, then you're not going to be able to do, and so they want to control, they
It's
want to watch,
control.
and
Exactly.
they want to watch. But I also believe it's because this is the theory of Karen, is that
Such theory.
they're printing so much money that it's worthless right now.
They
It's
devalued it. Yeah, I mean, it's just.
I mean, it has no. I mean, you might as well blow air in it. I mean, you can't just sit there and go, okay, well, here, we'll just make some more money. Here you go. We might as well get monopoly money.
Exactly, funny money.
And so
agree.
eventually it's going to implode itself. And so I think they're trying to get you ready for something else when the dollar is, because the dollar is, and I think that's why these other countries are doing joining and doing this like BRIC thing, and they're looking it up because they see the dollar is not where it used to be.
No, because you can't trade your dollar in for the gold that it used to stand for. And silver
No, we're not
certificates.
backed by gold.
No, your silver certificates used to be worth some money. I saw.
I never had a silver.
I think I got one or two in the safe. Anyway, we saw a silver certificate. It was a $10 bill yesterday at that antique mall in Blackstone. And I forget how much it's worth. I mean, $35 or something, because you can't find them.
Mm.
Silver coins.
Yes.
You don't find silver coins.
So if you have gold jewelry, I mean pure gold, if you have silver, these would be good things to keep on hand. Don't get rid of them right now, because
No.
it's but this is what our government is doing, and I don't know if people are aware of what they're doing, but
It's scary.
it is, because eventually, what are they going to pay your Social Security with? Because
They're going to send me bags of food. You got to eat this. A GMO.
and we'd be like, nope, right?
No. Cost. It's just. We watched another movie. This streaming thing can make me stay up pretty late. And then I'm like, oh, I got to teach.
You look a little tired.
I was like, I need a nap. Took a nap. But the movie was about drug runners, but not the kind of drug runners that we're thinking of. They were pharmaceuticals.
Okay.
And the big pharma didn't like that. So they had the government official try to break up this ring of pharmaceuticals. And I can understand that maybe we don't want to buy our pharmaceuticals from another country, but depending on where you're getting some of your stuff now, who knows where it's coming from, Because you can go to Canada, you can go to Mexico and just buy anything right over the counter.
Well, isn't that what happened? There were some shortages because some of the ingredients come from like China, and so some of the drugs, they were having a hard time making them or supplying them, and so you might see a difference in your pill shape or pill bottle or something.
One pill there's different shapes. And I'm like, oh, I got to break this in half, and it's tiny, and it was round. When it's oblong, I'm like, I can break it in half.
And they'll tell you, it's like, okay, well, we're having a shortage, right? I mean, so they're
Yeah.
they're getting things from other countries, and you
Already.
don't know
Yes.
what. I mean, I would be leery of some of that. I really would, because
It was a good show because the young man who was running it was supplying a woman for her. I think the son supposedly had like cystic fibrosis, and he needed this medicine, and she was a single mom, and it was the only way she could afford it.
But why can't you get it cheaper in other countries instead of here? Does make you think, doesn't it, people?
I had somebody working out this morning whose daughter has just gotten over some major issues, and she needed one pill. One pill. The mom told us one pill. Do you know how much that one pill they were going to charge? $8,000. One pill. And
That's ridiculous.
And she
people.
said, I'm sorry, but my health insurance will not pay for that. And this was from the hospital, of course. So now let's think about that. You could buy a lot of gold for $8,000 for one pill.
That is ridiculous. That's where the crime is, people.
That is a crime.
That's crime. That's just
That
crime.
is a crime.
You're
And you
robbing
have to,
people, and and people that need it and can't get it. And I mean, this is where the issue.
Those are scams. How can one pill that's nothing more than the combination of some of these elements that we just looked at be worth that much money?
And and as a parent, you say you'd want to pay anything you could to help your child, but sometimes you can't pay the price.
Well, that's what this one movie was about. I mean, this young woman was doing everything she could do to get her son to be healthy. So, oh my God, $8,000. Now, these are all scams. And once you're on Medicare, 3 minutes? Oh, we could carry this over to the next one if we want. Once you're on Medicare, you are open to scam bill. They call you for everything.
Really?
Oh, mm-hmm. You can get a scooter, no cost to you. Who do you think's paying for that? You're not going to get a free scooter.
There's nothing in life free, people. Somebody's having to pay something.
They will
for
have
it.
you fill out some papers, and they will send it into Medicare with your name on it saying this woman needs a scooter. Now, before this afternoon, my husband got a couple, yesterday he got a call, today he got a call from his health insurance for a wellness exam. They will come to our house and they will give him a $25 gift card for him to do his wellness exam, which he can go right over here at the medical center, which is where he goes. And I said to him, yeah, can you imagine how much they're charging Medicare if they're going to give you? Is that our time?
No, that's just a ringtone.
Sounds like mine. We love music.
Gotta do something, Hooterville. Oh, Oliver. Oh, Ash.
And it does it twice. So if you didn't get the rhythm the first time, and then it stopped on you.
But I probably won't get the message. If they leave me a message, it'll probably be next week. So I mean, anybody out there that's trying to contact me, call me. I don't know what to do. So my cousin and I, we'll end this on a funny note. So
Okay.
I told my cousin, I said, from now on, send smoke signals. And so they said, well, from now on, if I text you and it's a smoke signal that I'm trying to call you or trying to get in touch with you, I'm like, that'll work. I said, because apparently nothing else will.
Now, you just say, Happy Easter. Are you on crack? No.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to cut this one off, but we thank you so much, and we'll talk at you later. Bye-bye.
So